All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Andrew Cook. I use he, him, his pronouns. And today we're going to be talking about loving kindness for family caregivers. So I just want to share two of the people that I care for. I care for my uncle and my grandmother, long distance from Boulder, Colorado. Yeah. I love those people so much. They live in Indiana. Yeah. My uncle, he just recently had a heart attack, and he's in the process of recovering, and they just gave him about 40 weeks of physical therapy for recovery. He's also showing signs of dementia and has so for the past couple years. And I think the most difficult conversation we had was a couple years ago when he says, I don't think I'm going to live the next 10 years. And then a couple months later, that sweet lady over there said the same thing to me. I don't think I'm going to live the next 10 years. I don't like hearing that. But there is a reality to the end of life and loss and the progressive nature of some diseases, both of which have COPD, which greatly affects their breathing. And for the past 10 years, they've had a wood burner in the house that only complicated the issue. So what I found is that in order for me to continue to caregive for them, I have to have a grounded foundational practice of self-compassion that keeps me going, that, as I heard before, energizes and restores, that nourishes. So today I would like to introduce that concept, and I would like to begin with a poem by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So there was a song that was going to play here. I can't remember exactly what song it is at this moment, but I'm sure you could come up with any number of songs to cultivate a sense of love. Why am I not playing it? Let's see if it works. Yeah, let me try. Nope, it's not working. Sorry about that. So that's one of those technology things, right? We just go with the flow. But basically, just think of a song that reminds you of love. Yeah. So, what does love feel like? What does love feel like to you? And this is an open question. I'd like to invite anyone to answer. What does love feel like?
I wasn't like a big Whitney Houston fan or anything, but I was listening to something like a week or so ago, and they played her song, The Greatest Love, and it was about what's inside of me. And I listened to the words, and I was like, yeah, that's love. So, and I decided, I have a mental list. I have to write them down of songs I want played at whatever memorial is given for me, and I've added that to the list. So that's what I thought of when the word love came up.
Thank you. You said that. It's almost like you can't express it sometimes, but it's just, it feels good. It feels right. It promotes that sense of, I can relax here. I can be vulnerable. I can express who I am, and I can be who I am. Any other thoughts on love?
You feel secure. You feel calm. Like you can face the world because there's somebody in your corner.
Yeah, having a sense of someone's there with you. You're not alone. So just think about these things and keep that awareness of what love is. It's not just the felt sense of love, but what emotions come up with love, what feelings, what reaction, how does your body know that love is here? What lets you know love is here? So I'd like to introduce, and I know there's so many words on the slide, so I apologize for that, but there's not really a better way to do this. I'm not going to go through all of these, but this is Kristen Neff's self-compassion scale. It's a shorter version of a longer questionnaire. Yes, of course. It's a short questionnaire of a longer questionnaire that really helps identify aspects of self-compassion for the self. So think about this and answer within your own thoughts of when you fail at something important to you, do you become consumed by feelings of inadequacy? Do you see your failings as part of the human condition or a personal failure? When something upsets you, do you try to keep your emotions in balance? Or do you allow yourself to be with that upset? When you do feel inadequate, do you remind yourself of those feelings of inadequacy, that it's common, the sense of common humanity, that we're all in this together and we all feel these things? Are you intolerant and impatient with aspects of yourself that you don't like? And there's no judgment here. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just an awareness of where you're at in this moment. At some moments, you'll be a little bit more compassionate. At other moments, you're going to retreat and pull away from this sense of compassion. And those are natural responses. And so as you look at this list, is there any one of these that really stand out to you? Anyone? Number one, yeah. Six and seven. Six, when I go through a very hard time, I give myself the caring and tenderness I need. And seven, when something upsets me, I try to keep my emotions in balance. Yeah.
Is 7 about resistance, or is it about self-monitoring, like it's a good thing to, or good, I don't want to say good or bad, to keep emotions in balance, as opposed to letting emotions out? That's a question.
Yeah, so it's kind of both of those things, and letting the emotion in as well as out. So if we think of the sense of balance, right? If we get extremely upset and then we try to self-soothe or numb or avoid those feelings versus allowing that healthy balance of happiness and sadness and disgust and surprise and fear. So you can take Kristen Neff's self-compassion scale online. I think that the full one's 26 questions. It might be a little bit longer. And then she kind of breaks it down into 3 areas: the sense of self-compassion, the sense of loving kindness, and the sense of common humanity, the shared experience that other people get upset, that other people feel inadequate, that other people feel disapproved and judged and feel like they're flawed individuals. And according to Neff's research, we're seeing that, yeah, everyone across the world experiences these things, feeling that sense of inadequacy. And that by acknowledging other people feel it, it stops that isolation, like this is only me. It promotes this realization that I can turn to you and have a general sense that at some point in time you felt disrespected or you felt so much like a failure. And that's what can unite us and bond us. And that's what can bring us hope that, you know what, even if I feel terrible, tomorrow I might feel happy. The human condition, yes. That's exactly it. So I would like to introduce this practice of loving kindness for family caregivers. You may have heard of a meta practice. So this is kind of tailored specifically for family caregivers. And so with this activity, it's an experiential activity, and so I'm going to encourage you to give yourself permission for the next 5 to 10 minutes as we explore this practice to find a comfortable and relaxed position. If these chairs are working for you, great. If you need to stand and move around, that's perfectly welcome as well. If you want to lie down and we'll cover you in a blanket, that works too. Yeah, well, it might be dangerous, but it might be exactly what your body needs. And she's got the blanket. Yeah, she's ready. Yeah. So go ahead and find what is comfort for you, what is relaxed. You know, it's been a long day. We've been through a lot of different conversations with strangers and familiar faces. We heard caregivers from all over the world share their stories and their experience and their insights, their wisdom and their pain. And begin to befriend this moment. Like the poem earlier, invite whatever's here in, whether that's sadness or frustration or sleepiness. Just allow that to be here now. Welcome it. Maybe feeling your feet on the floor. Maybe feeling your back body. What do you notice? Any thoughts? Any feelings? Any sensations? Notice and allow. And as you take note of the thoughts and feelings that are here, begin to notice the breath. Maybe you say to yourself, breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. And keep your attention on the breath for a moment. Notice the movement of the body. The chest expanding on the inhale. The relaxation on the exhale. And in this mindful space, I invite you to say the following sentences. An offering. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. Safety, happiness, health, and ease. And noticing, again, the breath and the body in this moment. And begin to maybe bring some movement to the body and slowly return back to the room. Maybe blinking a couple times, letting the light in, and making contact with another person, and seeing them, and greeting them. So we start with ourselves first. The practice of self-care begins with us. Many of us have traveled here by plane. And we all sat through that 3-minute lecture where the flight attendant said, you got to put your mask on first before you try and help someone else. And in that same spirit, we apply loving kindness, offering ourselves safety, offering ourselves happiness, offering ourselves health, and offering ourselves ease as the primary foundation before we begin to work with another person. Because when we're grounded, when we're present, when we have a sense of being whole, we can fully show up with another person, regardless of what state they're in. So I want to turn now to a question. Who cares for who in the family? I already mentioned who I care for, so does anyone want to share who they care for?
I care for my disabled husband. He has multiple sclerosis, is unable to walk, has not walked in 6 years, 7, something like that. I use a Hoyer lift. I have help for a shower aid and for a nurse, but that's it. So.
Thank you for sharing, and thank you for caring for your husband. Anyone else like to share who they support?
I support caregivers who are caring for people. And I do, well, I care for people, but with my massage work. So I have clients that have cancer. I have clients that are old and have some family caregivers, but I'm still part of their care team. And then I also just help care for my friend's mom. And so I'm not doing it directly for someone in my household. And so, but I'm supporting others. And I see I'm also part of the team.
So it sounds like there's some chosen family, people you're adopting in. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah.
Well, that's who I do it for now. My parents both passed, and then I went through a period when I was the caregetter, and my friends rallied around me, and so I've made it kind of my purpose that my pay it forward is to help whenever my friends have their own health issues or are dealing with someone that requires them to help. I need to be that respite person for them.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Paying it forward. Yeah. Giving back after you've been given to. Come on in. No, come on in. Yeah. That's all right. Yeah. So just to catch you up, we're talking about who cares for who in the family. So not just people directly related to us, our husbands, our wives, or our parents, but sometimes our neighbors, sometimes our friends, sometimes the bigger community at large, recognizing that those are our family too. And so the question becomes, what is my experience in the healthcare system? What's worked? What hasn't worked? Any big frustrations? Any discrimination? Any adversity? Any not being believed? Disrespectful staff? Someone with no tact? Yes. Yeah.
My expectations keep getting minimized for me. It's like I need to find the care that I need, and the quote-unquote healthcare system, as I view what's in the healthcare system, I can't really rely on that. for my care. I do tests and I do things like that, and I go to a regular doctor, and I don't take pills that he wants me to have for a pain in my toe. You know, it's like, no, I'm not taking opioids for a pain in my toe. You know, it's like that. So that's my experience with the healthcare system, and yet I also have an appreciation for what the challenges that the people in the healthcare system have related to regulations and documentation and all of the things that they have to get. So I do have an appreciation for that outside of my own person. So basically, I take care of myself and I use them as a tool. I don't rely on that to be my care.
So despite frustration, you're an advocate for yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a wonderful experience when I myself was under care, but recently I've had a great aunt who had symptoms very similar to what my mother went through before she passed about 3 years ago, and I went through it with my mother. And so when my great aunt was in the hospital, I wanted to try to communicate that to the doctors, and we do not have a very good system for understanding elderly care. They didn't have the understanding of how the older you get, the less you can tolerate medicines that maybe you've been taking for a long period of time, and that turned into what her problem was. But the doctor refused to see it, and yet he had no experience in elder care. Just drove me crazy. And my great aunt's family, they were scattered all over the country. They didn't have the experience I had had with my mom, so they weren't seeing it, because I was just seeing the exact same thing that my mother had gone through. So, I mean, my aunt ended up passing away, and I think it's because the hospital, the doctor there, basically didn't give her the care that she needed, you know. It wasn't until later that she finally ended up in a hospital that had some elder experience and could deal with it, but, you know, they were pumping her full of medicines that were making her react in all sorts of ways that made it seem as though she had dementia, but she didn't, you know. It was so frustrating, so frustrating.
Yeah, especially when you've already gone through this yourself, just to have the same thing happen over and over. And as you're saying, talking to someone else who's not having the same experience, and it's like, it's almost crazy making, right? What do we do? So, hi, thanks for joining us. Yeah, so we're talking about the experience in the healthcare system, good, bad, otherwise. Do you have any big stories you'd like to share? We'll keep it short, but anything?
We have a lot of experience with the healthcare system with my husband, and you definitely need to be an advocate for the people, whether they're in the hospital or a nursing home. I have done so much venting on Facebook when things were happening. Doctors don't want to believe you. You're with your loved one for 24/7 maybe, and you know them best, but they act like you don't. You don't know what you're talking about. I could see signs of sepsis. Oh, no, he's got high blood pressure because he's big. My husband has low blood pressure. If he's got high blood pressure, he's got sepsis starting. So, if you notice things, I just learn to say and be very adamant, this is what's going on, and voice my opinion. So.
Insist that they listen, otherwise they'll do what they want, and you're the one who's always there and know them best. So you have to make sure they're listening to what you're saying, So it could be a little crazy, to say the least.
So not being heard, having a sense of, I got to do it on my own, going crazy, being disrespected. Yeah. So what do we do about that? Well, Yeah. I see it. I hear the ready to go. Yeah, that's the advocate. I love it. Excellent. Yeah. So yeah. What do we do? And I'm posing this as a. I'm not going to give it. I'm going to give an answer in the next slide related to the loving kindness practice. Right. We're going to break it down. So safety, happiness, health, and ease. So we started with this practice of applying loving kindness to ourselves, wishing ourselves to be safe, wishing ourselves to be happy, wishing ourselves to be healthy, and wishing ourselves to be ease. And now what I would like to encourage you to do is to think about the ones you support. Okay, and we're going to go back into this process again. We're going to take another few moments to honor the caree, the one we're supporting, our loved one, our friends, our family, our husbands, our wives, our children, our parents. So again, go ahead and find that relaxed, comfortable position. Maybe it's similar, maybe it's different than before. And again, I welcome any movement or physical expression that comes along with that, whether that's standing or sitting or rocking. Or maybe you come to a still place and you feel your feet on the floor. And you feel your back body. And befriend this moment. Welcome whatever is here. Allow it to be. Notice any thoughts and feelings or sensations. Embrace them. And begin to turn your attention to the breath. Maybe offering yourself breathing in, knowing that I am breathing in. Breathing out, knowing that I am breathing out. And as you breathe, check into your body. What is here now? Maybe there's a sense of tiredness, of fatigue, or maybe you're full of energy and it's coursing through your veins. Maybe you're upset and a little unsettled. Whatever is here, welcome it. Breathing. And begin to offer your caree, the one you love, the one you support, your friends and family members, your community members, a sense of safety, happiness, healthy, and ease. May my caree be safe. May my caree be healthy. May my caree be happy. May my caree live with ease. Safety, health, happiness, ease. And breathing. And checking in again with the body. And maybe bringing some movement. Maybe a stretch or a bend. Maybe moving the arms or shoulders, or rolling the neck. Whatever feels good in this moment. Maybe you flutter the eyes. Beginning to return back to the room. Back to Chicago. Back to the circle. Making contact with another person, or keeping the contact with yourself. All right, so we're 2 down. We got loving kindness for ourselves. We've shared loving kindness for our caree. Uh-oh. Healthcare system. What are we going to do? Oh, no. There's the challenge, right? So how do we cultivate awareness and compassion that can promote the quality of life of our carees, right? So when we're at wit's end and we can do nothing else in our power, we can find that practice. Yeah. So we're going to just go ahead and jump right into the next one, and we're going to apply this sense of loving kindness, of safety, of compassion, of happiness, health, and ease to the healthcare system. So this is the challenge. Think of that difficult experience. Think of that difficult doctor, that nurse, the healthcare worker that did not pay attention, that was constantly late, that disrespected you. And notice what's going on inside of you right now. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's a little bit different energy than when you're thinking about kindness to self or kindness to the caree. Yeah. And invite that in. Welcome it. Notice it. Maybe name it. Oh, I see you, anger. I see you, frustration. I see you, hatred. Invite it to tea. Welcome it in. And again, let's find that comfortable position. Find that center. Find the ground. And feet on the ground. And feeling the back body. A strong back and a soft heart. And notice what's here. Notice the thoughts that arise as we think of the healthcare system. The feelings that arise. And any sensations. And notice your breath. Maybe you're breathing a little bit faster. Maybe you're only breathing with the top of your lungs. Maybe find a full breath in, breathing in, knowing that I am breathing in. Breathing out, knowing that I am breathing out. Notice the breath, and notice the body. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and repeat the phrase. May those in the healthcare system be safe. May those in the healthcare system be happy. May those in the healthcare system be healthy. May those in the healthcare system live with ease. The doctors, the nurses, the first responders, the CNAs, the hands-on caregivers, the administrators, the office personnel, the billing, the insurance companies, the pharmacists. May they be safe, happy, healthy, and at ease. And breathing, and being aware of what's here in the body. And I invite you back again here into the room. finding some movement, maybe some connection with another person. Yeah. We're a quiet group right now. Yeah. A little sleepy, yeah? A little relaxed, yeah.
In Sarasota, they started a healers, quote unquote, healers network, and it's people. There's a lot of people all over the country, maybe in the world, and so they send things all the time about people being in a hospital, and then we send that energy and that loving kindness to the people that are going to operate on them, and the nurses, the doctors. They include that in that. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing that all the time with that particular, commitment to send that energy to not only the person that is being operated on or whatever has happened, but to their caregivers too.
Yeah, so let's think about this. So what are some of the applications of this practice to your personal life, considering multicultural issues, and considering clinical practice? So I'm going to turn this over to you, and we have about 9 minutes left. I know time has flown, right? That's quick. But what has shifted? Has anything shifted for you? What is this practice? What did we just do? Any thoughts?
I think that we have to look at the fact that we're all human, whether the caree ourselves or somebody within the healthcare system, and that we need to just find peace with it, and sometimes you have to let it go, otherwise it consumes you.
Thank you.
I have always been more of a pragmatic caregiver, calm in the face of emergency. I used to work in a hospital. I used to teach physicians. And I took the approach to be as generous as I could to the nursing staff, to the doctors, although I did yell at a few when they wouldn't listen. But to be a non-invasive presence in the hospital, to let them know, I'm here, I'm going to be in room 123 with Mom, waiting to see the doctor, or whatever, or any news for me. Building relationships with the people there. And clearly, so many of them were stressed out that I just had to be gracious, unless there was and there were terrible times in the hospital. But I would just scream for help or whatever, whatever I needed at the time something critical was going on. But that seemed to keep me calm and aware of what they were going through. And I think one of the worst parts was the shift changes, because it's like, oh, here we go again. They don't know me. She's been here 12 days, but they haven't had this nurse. And, they just rotated. So there was so much to frustrate. I wish I had done more meditation or quiet reflection. I always had a book to read and didn't do much on a computer at that point or a phone, which was probably a good thing. I always had my notebook, though, to take notes and reflect on what was going on and what I should be doing next. So is that kind of, yeah, but this was powerful, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other thoughts?
Well, I'm thinking about a small book that I got when I was diagnosed with cancer that I read all the time called A Heart Full of Peace. I think it was Joseph Goldenstein. And he talked about in there how being kind was easy for us to do for the people that we loved, but not so easy to do for the people that we were in conflict with, and how important it is. And you know, in our political climate today and such divisiveness in the world and in our country, and it's just, it was so nice to kind of be reminded about how important it is to be kind to everyone. And I thank you for that, because personally I think that was very much something I needed to be reminded of.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a challenge yeah, you're right. It's easy to give love to someone we love, but when we see someone that, woo boy, they rub us the wrong way, it's challenging. It really is challenging. Yeah. And it takes a lot of courage to offer them love when you feel like they don't deserve your time. Yeah. Thank you.
Back in 2004, I contributed to a book on happiness, and I started practicing the principles that we all wrote about. And so each day my intention was to bring happiness to at least one person as I went throughout my business. And I dropped the practice after a while and then brought it back because I realized how powerful it was. And I always do it at the grocery store. You know, when you're checking out, the people say, you know, how's your day? And I'm going, I'm fine, but I'll bet you've been standing there for 6 hours or all day. How are you doing? And they just light up. But the same kind of practice really works in the hospitals too. Now, sometimes they're too busy to even accept your generosity, but I always acknowledged the nurses, thanked them, kept them informed of my presence. And I think that's a powerful message. And I'm sorry I missed a lot of what you said, but I think that's a similar principle to take, if you take it out in the world, but especially as a caregiver. And my mom is deceased now, but when I see people that need help, I'm there. Because somehow I didn't attract help. It was like, hey, I'm putting this wheelchair in the trunk. Big, strong guy who just parked next to me, who just walked by me. You know, could I have some help? You know, so those little kindnesses I've discovered, and especially when they come at me, make such a huge difference in the day.
Like the saying goes, treat other people the way you want to be treated. That's really hard, though, when you're in the midst of everything. And something that I knew that really worked for me during my caregiving of my child, we're still caregiving her, is the power of human touch. And when I am able to receive that, I am very, very eager to give it to somebody that I totally feel might need it too. And sometimes that's in the healthcare environment. We're in Boston, and there's lots of teaching hospitals there. So the amount of patience a caregiver has to have when storms of people are coming into your room constantly and wanting to hear the story over and over and over again it's hard. And I learned early on the how much I love to be nurtured by way of touch, and I can give that back to somebody and just thank them for wanting to even learn about my kid or the rare form of cancer that she has, and want to help and give them a hug. And so that was a good reminder to me too, to be like, oh gosh, that's right, they're part of this too. And it's not just me and my kid, it's everybody that's working together.
Thank you. Yeah. Working together. And sometimes people don't want to work together. And that's when it's even harder, and that's why we need to do it even more intentionally in those moments. Yeah, so there's one more step to this. We did the personal. We worked with our carees. We applied it to the healthcare system. But not everyone works in the healthcare system. Bacteria. Okay, so this to all the people and all the plants and all the pets. Yeah.
Is it pretty much every living thing?
And every living thing. Yeah.
Even that bacteria that causes disease. No,
Even the bacteria, yes. You can invite the bacteria into tea, but wash your hands afterwards, right? So yeah, we're going to go ahead and end today's little discussion with the practice. So go ahead, get comfy. Find yourself a relaxed position. And befriend what's here. Befriend this long day. Notice any thoughts, any feelings, or sensations. Notice the breath. And maybe offer yourself breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I am breathing out. And notice what's in the body. Notice your posture. Notice your feet and your knees and your hips, your elbows and hands, your chest and your neck, and your head. Breathing fully into the body, we begin to offer ourselves compassion by offering the following sentences. May all people, plants, and pets be safe. May all people, plants, and pets be happy. May all people, plants, and pets be healthy. May all people, plants, and pets live with ease. Safety, happiness, health, and ease. I want to thank you for your time, and I want to invite you back into the room. Notice what's here and welcome it. It is a gift. I'm going to go back and read the poem again for those of you who missed it. It's by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Thank you so much for being here today.